Hi, welcome back to the program. I had some technical difficulties just a minute ago, and some of that technical difficulties were fixed temporarily. So I just want to come on and share a little quick video with you guys, even though it's live. I'm doing live videos, but I'm pretty soon probably going to start just doing recorded videos anyway. So wanted to come on and talk about this right quick. So the X marks the spot. You have two Eclipse, well actually three, that the first, there's two 7 years apart that produces an X over the United States. So that's in 2017 and 2024. And then there was one in 2023 that makes another symbol, which we're going to talk about right now. So in the symbol that you see on the thumbnail, I don't think I got the picture of it here. I thought I might have had it, but it's on the thumbnail. You can see it. I want to see if I can find one for you in a minute. Anyway, you have the Tav, the Vav, and the Aleph. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It says the Hebrew word for sign in Genesis 1:14 is Ooth. This term originated from the root word Ooth, which means to consent. And it comprises, the Ooth comprise three Hebrew letters, the Aleph, the Vav, and the Tav. The Aleph symbolizes power and strength, like an ox head. The Vav signifies a tent peg, denoting securing or hooking. The Tav represents cross sticks to mark or signal. Together they invoke the image of a plowman guiding an ox harnessed to a plow, aiming for a distant landmark on the horizon to maintain a strength flow. Consent originates from covenant making, where parties agree on the destination akin to an ox reaching a landmark when plowing. A sign originates from covenant making, serving as a reminder for both parties. Here it is right here. So that's kind of blurry, but you can see the first one right here. This went through countries that has Salem in it, and that Salem represents peace. And then we had one where this happened in October 7th, 2023. And the weird thing about this is a week later, Israel was attacked. And then you have this one that is coming on April 8th. And in this one, so you have Salem, 7 Salems, and I really don't know how many Ninevehs that will be going back straight up here. So this is speaking language to mankind. Now, this thing called the United States, this entity called the United States, is the greatest Gentile nation to ever exist. A lot of people have to question that because they think that, and people say it was America an empire. Empires last for 250 years. It's been studied. You can go back and see if that's the case. But China is 5,000 years in existence. So China is the exception. And China's not really an empire but it has influence. Now, the United States in the last 50 to 100 years, 50 years, have tried to make a empire for himself in kind of a stealth, like using his money and influence and power to maneuver things across the world as if an empire would do. Now, Britain, they say the sun doesn't set on the old British Empire. Of course, it has set somewhat because India is not under their control. Canada is not under their control anymore. All of those are independent nations, but Britain still has its influences. The king in the former late queen, it had its influences on these empires, regardless of when these empires, when Britain lost its empire, and these empires become extinct. Now these are individual countries. The Ottoman Empire gave Israel, who had control over Israel for 1,500 years, gave their land back to Israel in 1917, and the Ottoman Empire gave it to the Brits, who gave it back to the Israeli people. So that was a tongue tie. I don't know why it took so hard for me to speak. So you see the Tav right here. You see the Oath, Oath, how you pronounce it, Oath. So this is saying something. And it seems like it's saying beginning and the ending. Here it says, when you overlay the path of the totality for all three eclipses on a map and compare them with the Hebrew letter, you get the Aleph, the Tav, the Vav spelling sign. So altogether, it symbolizes both the beginning and the ending. So could this be a message that God has given us, that America is about to reach its plateau? Now, we know the two-state solution, and God says in the Word, do not divide my land. And he's prophesying, he says, you have divided my land. So the nation that divides the land of Israel, God will also divide you. And there is, of course, the two-state solution, where President Trump, former President Trump, which his son-in-law, Krishna, am I saying Hare Krishna? What is his name again? Well, anyway, he was trying to come up with a peace agreement that would give the people in Gaza Palestinians their own land. I'm not going to go into if Palestine exists or not, but I am going to say that you do not divide God's land at all. If you divide God's land, he will divide yours. And right in the center of the United States is the Madrid fault line. And as a matter of fact, 100 years ago, there was a worst earthquake ever during an eclipse, the same eclipse that crossed. And I think it's 1809 and 1811. It lands right smack dab in the middle of the United States. I want to show you guys some pictures so bad, but I'm going to come back on next week and do the same. Anyway, going back to the existence of most empires, the United States is at 241 years. You add 8 or 7, you add 7 or 8 to that. It might be 242 this year. You add 7 to that, you get 250. You add 8 to it, you get 250. So we're close. This country is close. We know the rapture of the church is coming. A lot of people say, well, the rapture of the church is going to empty America. Most of the churches are not even serving God, so I don't know how that's going to happen. But it is going to bring shock to the world, and it's going to be a crossroads. I call it the 7-year tribulation period. Okay. And I think that may mark the spot. Now, you know the time of Jacob's trouble, and then you know the time of the age of grace. The disciples came up to Jesus and said, Master, tell us what will be the beginning of the end of the age. And he says, don't see to it that you're not deceived, for many will come in my name saying I am Christ and deceive many. And then you should hear wars and rumors of wars. And that's exactly where we're at now. For the last 30 years, we've been hearing wars and rumors of wars, but now it's really intent. We really see the things that are happening, like the great blank blank, if you know what I'm saying. You have Charles Schwab and all these other guys talking about the great blank blank. And they are trying to reset the hegemony, where Britain lost the hegemony in when the United States was first formed in 1776, and just slightly before that, United States was the New World, they call it, the New World. So they want to come over here and present the New World. And Satan knew he wanted to use the New the New World to establish an Antichrist base, or to establish his future world empire, and that's exactly what happened. So we know that this thing was already prophesied in the makings a long time ago in the Bible, and also they also prophesied their own World War I and World War II and World War III, who would be playing as the actors in these wars when it comes. Anyway, so I just wanted to come on and show you guys that. Didn't want to make a long video. Zechariah 12:2-5 says, I am going to make Jerusalem a cup of troubling. It says that send all the surrounding people railing. Jerusalem will be besieged, as well as Judah will be besieged, as well as Jerusalem. On that day, when all nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem a immovable rock for all the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves. On that day, I will strike every horse with panic and its rider with madness. That sounds like Ezekiel 38 and 39. There's something unusual about those guys turning and fighting on each other. Declares the Lord, I will keep a watchful eye over Judah, but I will blind all the horses of the nations. Then the clan of Judah will say in their hearts, the peoples of Jerusalem are strong, because the Lord Almighty is their God. Sounds like it's kind of crossing over with Ezekiel 38 and 39. And he says, the people will know me. So as this passage reveals to us the beginning point of the end, starting with the war of Gog and Magog, when Jerusalem and Judah, which is the West Bank, is attacked. But the Bible gets even more specific than that, and tells us exactly who attacks Israel first. When they attack Israel, we lead to the starting of the end. Will lead to the starting of the end. I cannot read today. On that day, the thought will come into your mind, talking about the leader Gog of Magog, which some people believe. I believe it's Russia, and the leader of Russia, who currently is Vladimir Putin. The name Vladimir means madman. There was also a leader. He passed away. I think he passed away. I get these guys mixed up. General Levin, I know, passed away, but you got Vladimir Zelenowski. He wrote a book called A Dash to the South, and I had that book before, back in the 90s, and I don't know, of course I trashed it. It says, you will say, I will invade a land with unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and bars. I will plunder and loot and turn my head against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations, rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. I don't like this translation because it seems like it's a weak translation to me. But you get the gist of it. So remember, people, you got to remember that God said, I will send fire upon the coastlands. To me, there's no sign that United States is fighting anyone. But he does say, I will send fire upon the coastlands. So there's a transition of power coming from the west going back to the east. At first, it was power coming from the east going to the west, to the United States and, these other countries, Europe and all these other countries. Now it's the power is transferring from America back to the east, which will in line with the Antichrist system and China and the kings of the east. So we see that happen as well. All great empires will come to an end. Like I was talking about earlier, that American people don't see the United States as an empire, but our influence is acting like an empire. We had got all of our structure, our government structure, our architectural structure, our financial structure, our did I say government structure? Government structure, where we have our 3 branches of government, sometimes 4. Some people think the media is part of the. Well, these days it is infiltrated by the other main executive office. Anyway, so I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about that. I had done a video earlier, and the video was butchered. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.